Are you serious? What? Kiev, Ukraine. Kiev, Ukraine. President Yanukovych he's went into hiding, but he's refused to resign, and he goes missing somewhere in eastern Ukraine. So Kiev, no doubt, this situation over the weekend has just evolved into an absolute chaotic state of mind. But actually, the people have truly won. The people have rose up against a very corrupt and tyrannical government, despite the fact that even Vladimir Putin was trying to strong-arm the Ukrainian people into submitting to his puppet leader, President Yanukovych. But here's the thing. Defying the attempts by protesters in Kiev to force him out in Ukraine, President Viktor Yanukovych went on the air Saturday, February the 22nd, 2014, to say he has no plans to resign. Apparently, speaking from eastern portion of the Ukraine, he accused the armed extremists and gangsters of a coup against him, comparing them to the Nazis in Berlin of 1933. Now, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov called on the German, the French, and the Polish foreign ministers to step in and take responsibility for upholding the deal they helped the president and the opposition leaders sign on Friday, and not let the armed extremists directly threaten Ukraine's sovereignty. Now, Debka is reporting how far Moscow will go to guarantee Yanukovych's rule is not immediately apparent at this stage, but to the volatile situation in Ukraine is beginning to resolve itself into a split between two rival regions and governments. You have the pro-Western opposition, the people of Kiev, and you have the pro-Russian government under Yanukovych that has been taken, who is being marshaled, if you will, by Vladimir Putin. Now, it is important to note that not all of Kiev's population opposeth his rule, and which depends mainly on a group from the former Polish town of Lvov, which holds sway over Kiev downtown. So this thing could get very, very ugly fast. I mean, if you think about it. Now, when I look back at the 14 apocalyptic signs for the year of 2014, one of them was this: the Winter Olympics, terror and fear. I look back at it and I realized, thank God we did not have a terrorist attack during the Olympic Games in Sochi. There was about 10 terrorists that were killed that were all camped around Sochi during the games, and there was even an explosion of a hotel killing a bunch of people, car bombs, 2 in a row, killing a bunch of people just about a week before the Olympics, which was targeting the Olympics. So there was enough terror and fear to go around. And you had the overthrowing, what looks like the overthrowing of the Ukrainian government during the Olympics. So there's enough terror and fear to go around in that part of the world there in Russia during the Olympic Games. Let's just pray that now going forward, cooler heads can prevail. These are truly apocalyptic signs of this year, because if you think about it, Jesus said nation would rise against nation. You would hear of wars and rumors of wars. And so we're seeing these things play out even during the Winter Olympic Games. Even the fact that President Putin said that President Obama and his administration were basically turning the spiritual aspect of America into a sewer. So there's been some name-calling, eye-poking, finger-pointing, and a lot of shifting going on, and a lot of dead bodies. 100 people died in Kiev, Ukraine, during this 3 days of protest. Like I said, about 60 civilians were killed in 2 different car bombs. I believe it might have been 30 killed and 60 wounded. I believe that's the right number. During those 2 car bombs just a week before the Olympics, there were 10 terrorists that were mowed down and killed by military police just outside of Sochi about 3 days before the Olympics, or maybe the first 2 days of the Olympics. But thank God, in the Olympic Games itself, we didn't have a major attack. Thank God for that. But there's been enough bloodshed, and we need to pray for this part of the world. I want to thank Penny for this report. She did an excellent job. I also want to thank Tina for the last report on the 25 kids affected in California from this polio-type virus. Tina, thank you for that report. I failed to mention you in that video. God bless all of you. We love you. We'll be back with more current world events. Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. You say, Paul, this is not a sign. Yes, it is. If you read Matthew 24, when Jesus was asked, could he tell him the signs of his coming and the end of the world? Jesus said, there shall be false Christ and false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. Speaking of earthquakes, there's been 36 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. I want to thank Troy of North Carolina for this report. And of those 36 that are all 2.5 or higher, just to name a few, 4.5 Colombia, 4.8 Japan, 4.6 Indonesia, 4.2 earthquake in China, 4.4 in Greece, 4.7 in Mexico, 4.5 in Indonesia, 4.5 Japan, 4.4 Romania. There was a 4.9 earthquake, Chile. There was a 5.0 Indonesia, 5.1 Papua New Guinea, 4.4 India, 4.7 Northern Mariana Islands, 5.3 Indonesia, and a 4.7 in Alaska. These are just a few of the earthquakes around the world and the apocalyptic events that Jesus said would come in the last days. I'll be right back. There's more information breaking that I'm going to get to right away, coming out of Israel as well as out of Egypt. I'll be right back. Stay with me today.